you guys, welcome back, or welcome if you're new here to my channel. My name is Josie and I'm a wife and a mom to two little ones who turned 4 and 1 this past weekend. And I'm sharing the birthday party prep with you. It is a Disney, Mickey, and Minnie theme, and we're jumping straight in. I've been telling you guys and sharing with you guys on Instagram some sneak peeks that I've been planning this for a while, and I'm so excited to actually be doing it. I did every single thing myself. First thing we're doing is the chocolate covered Oreos, and I'll link everything that I use down below. But they're really simple. I will say the chocolate that I used is the Hobby Lobby chocolate because it's the cheapest, but it's not the best. It's super thick. For these molds, it worked out fine, but for like the drizzle or if you're doing any dipping, I do not recommend this. I would 100% go with Ghirardelli, but that is way too expensive to be doing a whole party with. So if I was doing this for like a client or somebody who was paying, I would definitely use the better chocolate. But you basically just fill it up a little bit, you stick the Oreo in, and then you fill up the rest, making sure you're going to the sides because you can get a gap like you'll see here in a second. And then in order to flatten it out, you can just use like a toothpick to kind of like swirl, and that does work out better with a thinner chocolate, but this was super thick. But as you can see, some of the Oreos came out with the little bit of crack because again, this was super thick, so it was not like pouring into all of the cracks, but it would work like a charm if you actually had some good chocolate that's thinned out. I even added vegetable oil because I heard that that could thin out thick chocolate, but this chocolate is just, it's not even chocolate. I think it's just candy melts. But then I got these Mickey kind of like little shapes to put on the Oreos as well. And again, for molds, this chocolate is just fine. I wouldn't use it for dipping. So I didn't do much dipping. I only did some pretzel rods, which was fine. But anything else, or like God willing, I am planning to do something with cake decorating in the future. And you know, this whole chocolate covered business, but I definitely will not be using this chocolate. Anyways, this is edible luster dust, I think that's what it's called. I got it off of Amazon. I've used this before for my baby shower. If you watched that, when I did all those treats, and it's real easy. You just kind of paint it on. And then I am going to drizzle my Oreos with some green drizzle. I'm going to decorate with some sprinkles with some wafer snowflakes that I also got off of Amazon. And then some of them will have the Mickey little chocolate molds on it as well. And I love how they came out, but let me know what you guys think. Also, I wanted to add that the party was on a Saturday. It was on December 30th. And I mean, November 30th, because that's 5 days after his birthday, 5 days before their 10 days, before her birthday, because they're 10 days apart. So it was like smack in the middle. And yes, I know that's the week of Thanksgiving. That's what made everything more hectic. I've been planning this party for months. Last minute, my grandma decided to come from Puerto Rico to see the kids and on Thanksgiving week, and so I hosted Thanksgiving this week, and I also did all of this. So every day was a new thing. I think I did this on Monday, and then like Tuesday I baked the cakes and froze them. On Wednesday I cleaned the entire house and prepped for Thanksgiving, the dinners and stuff, and then I did the goodie bags on Wednesdays, and then on Thursday I did the balloon garland in the morning before Thanksgiving dinner. It was crazy, you guys. But yeah, so I'm kind of going to be showing you guys this the way I did it in order. So I hope you guys don't get confused, because that's how my footage was laid out, was like day by day. So this was the very first day that I actually was like hands on, but I was planning this for months, and I did some of this stuff ahead of time, like the plates. I made like DIY Mickey and Minnie plates. The cake topper, I had did that months prior, because I knew this was going to be a stressful week. So anything that I could have done prior, I did, whenever I had time. Also, another thing I forgot to tell you guys why I did use the Hobby Lobby chocolate is because it comes colored already. Red is the most difficult color to get because it always comes out pink, and so is black because it'll come out gray. So I'm definitely glad I learned that little mishap beforehand, because I did do like an order for somebody else. prior to this, and so I already knew like the color, how food coloring works and how much work it is to get a really good red and a really good black and stuff like that. So the fact that these were already super bright red, I like that. And the green, I didn't have to work with any food coloring or anything like that, which you guys are going to see. I had to do a whole different plan for my cake later on because the red did not come out as I had hoped, and I was adding too much food coloring, and yeah, I'll explain that when we get there. If you're new here, I have a ton of different party decorates on my channel. I do got to organize everything into playlists. I'm sorry I haven't done that yet, but that's just who I am. I love DIYs. I love learning new skills, and I cannot wait to show you guys this cake that I made, which actually brings me to today's sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is the largest learning community out there. They have tons of different classes like Cricut projects, productivity, YouTube, and baking. So actually, before I started all this, I did take the layered cake baking class. I have never made a layered cake before this, and then I started doing them actually for people. I did one for my mom's birthday, and I also did one for a friend. After doing this class, I earned a certificate. I also have this thing called learning paths, where it basically groups one skill into like beginner to pro all in one space for you, so it's super easy and organized. And they have a learn by doing approach, which I love. You can upload a project, earn a certificate, have people comment on it. It's awesome. It's a really, really cool community, and yeah, I definitely recommend them. If you guys are looking to become a DIYer and learn new skills yourself, the first 500 people to click the link in my description can get Skillshare Premium for 1 month, totally free. You can definitely take more than 1 or 2 classes in that time frame. So thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. Now we're heading over to the goodie bags. I was so excited about this. It's like my inner kid was coming out. The goodie bags I got from Temu. There's not a lot of Mickey and Minnie Christmas birthday stuff out there, so it was super hard to find. And then I cut out these little ornament tags with my Cricut, and I just wrote their names on it. And I got all of this stuff at Five Below. I found little Mickeys and Minnies for $1. And then I also found a couple of other stuff that was like super cute and cool. I didn't want to stick any like one those like cheap little things that nobody plays with and they throw out. I wanted to actually get things that they would use. So like the Mickey and Minnie toys. And then I got like a little paint my ornament kit for them, little poppers. And yeah, I had fun. And then also, I didn't want to stick candy in it because we did have a piñata, and there's a lot of young kids, and I know kids don't, what am I saying? Moms with young kids don't like giving them candy because it's a choking hazard. So I did these little reindeer cookies, which are delicious, and I had these little leftover bags that seal up from doing an order from somebody, and I just separated them into that, and I put that in there. That way they have a non-candy option. And then in the piñata, I actually just had lollipops. This was Thanksgiving Day. This was right before my grandma and everybody got here. It's super stressful. I was on a time crunch because I was cooking what I had to cook still that I didn't cook the prior night. And then I was trying to make this garland right before I had to get dressed. And I had time to do it, thankfully. But this is a balloon kit from Amazon. This is how I do all my garlands. It comes with the garland tape. Super, super easy. All you do is like push the balloons through it, and it creates a garland. I like doing them in clusters. So for me, I do either 4 colors or 2 of each color. So I did red, white, and each cluster is 10 balloons. So for this half garland, I used 40 balloons total. I did 10 red, then 10 white, then 10 red, then 10 white. And then it also came with some candy canes and peppermints. And I also do the little clusters of the green balloons, and I just tie them up into like clusters of 3, and I'll add that in later. Super easy. Another tip, that if you're doing your garland ahead of time, you spray it with some hairspray and it'll stop it from deflating. Then I did this little Cricut project because I wanted to do 2 towers on either side of the cake table. So I did Eliana is 4 and Nehemiah is 1, and then I printed it out with my Cricut with some leftover gold vinyl that I had. This was like a last minute thing. I didn't have any transfer tape. So usually when you're using Cricut vinyl, you put it on transfer tape and then you'll apply it, but I didn't have, and I wasn't about to go get. It was super stressful this week, so I decided to just peel it on like a sticker. And because I did that, there was a lot of bubbles and it was really hard. I couldn't get it flat. That's what transfer tape is for. So this DIY didn't come out perfect, but it still came out super cute with some bubbles. And overall, it is a good concept. Definitely feel free to steal this concept. Not that it's my own, but I mean, steal this idea. But yeah, I definitely would recommend using transfer tape so that everything comes out smoothly. I have done this before on balloons for my gender reveal, and it came out good. It's just that I did not use transfer tape here. For these towers, I have shared how I made them before, and usually I'll use the balloon string to kind of like tie everything together in the form of an 8, but I just used balloon dots this time, and I taped all the balloons together and then I stacked them the same way because I was just trying to do it super quick, and I didn't want to do the whole thing with like the balloon weights, and it wasn't that tall of a tower. It was just 2 clusters of 4 balloons, so that's basically what you would do. Clusters of balloons, and then you kind of apply them diagonally and then stick the big balloon on top. And yeah, now we're to the cake making. These cake layers I made the Tuesday of this week, and I froze them. So that's what I do. I make the cake, and I will leave both the cake and the frosting, buttercream frosting recipe that I use down below. To both of them, I do add nutmeg and cinnamon to give it my own flavor, and I do add more vanilla extract to my frosting than it says. But other than that, I use these recipes that I will link to the T. And yeah, so I freeze them, then I defrost them, and then I also made a what is it called? The syrup, the simple syrup, to give them more moisture because I froze them as well. And it's just equal parts water and sugar, 1 cup water, 1 cup sugar, and then you heat it up until it's dissolved, cool it off, and then put it in one of those containers and just pour it over your cakes. Yeah, frosting, super easy. This was gonna be a crumb coat. So crumb coats do not have to be perfect. You just have to get the cake fully coated so that when you do the actual layer, final layer of buttercream, everything comes out smoothly with no crumbs in it. And then, so what I do is I put it in the freezer, and then I take it out, and it's nice and hard, and then it's super easy to smooth the final layer on it. My final layer was supposed to be red buttercream. So here I am using my leftover buttercream to make some cupcakes that I was going to give to Mickey and Minnie as like a thank you for coming, because they did come to the party, and they were actually my neighbors wearing the costume, and somebody from my church actually got me the costumes for free, and I was super, super thankful. And then my neighbors wore them, and I just paid her daughter and her daughter's friend a little something along with these cupcakes and, a thank you note. And so that's what I used with this. That's what I did with this leftover buttercream. I wish I would have used less of it because I was going to need that buttercream later. So basically, for the cake, I was supposed to do a red buttercream. I could not get it red enough. I did do a black cake for somebody, and I know black is just as hard to get as red. And what I did with the black cake was I would heat up a little bit of it. It was gray. I heated up a little bit of the buttercream, and when you put it in the microwave for some reason, it actually like grabs the color more, and then it turned it black, and then I mixed it in with the rest of the buttercream, and then the whole buttercream turned black. I tried that concept with the red, and it was not working, you guys. It was still pink, and I had to add so much red food coloring that has red 40, and I could not in good conscience give this to these kids. So I threw away the entire batch of red buttercream, and I had no more butter left. Now this was Friday. This was the day before the party. I was stressed out. Day after Thanksgiving, I was not trying to go get more butter. I was not trying to get anything. So I decided to just make a drip. And I made this drip. I'll include the recipe down below, but it's basically just white chocolate chips, and heavy cream. And yeah, I decided to just change my whole concept. I originally wanted to do a red cake with snowflakes and a completely different concept, and then add some green buttercream and make it very Christmassy. But I could not, for the life of me, give these kids this, like, all this food coloring in this buttercream, and then it also started to change the taste to be a little bitter. So I'm definitely gonna have to do more research for red buttercream, or God willing, when I start my business, I'm just not gonna work with red buttercream or something, because it was super stressful, and I couldn't do it. So this drip actually ended up, like, it didn't turn out perfect. This is my very very first time working with, I mean, this is only my third cake that I've made. So I'm very, very, very new to all of this. And the drip was pretty easy to do. Some spots folded, but what I will say is that when I poured everything on the top of it, it set perfectly, like perfectly flat, like flatter than I could have even got my buttercream. It just set by itself. I didn't have to run a spoon through it like I was planning to do, or I thought I was going to have to do. It just set completely good. So I think the recipe I used was um 1 cup of the white chocolate chips, and then 1/3 cup of heavy cream. You heat it up on the stove, and you combine it, and then you let it, and then you put it into the this little thing that I also use for the simple syrup. I got it from Walmart. And yeah, another thing is that I freeze my cakes in between layers and stuff like that. So the cake was cold, so that helps it to like set and stuff like that. So you do want to have a cold cake when you're applying this drip. And yeah, then I added some sprinkles to the top. So again, this was my first time working with this, so I was just adding more drip to the spaces where I felt lacked it. Some of the drip did fold on me, and then that's where I used the snowflakes that I already had, that I planned to use on the original cake, and I just hid all my imperfections on the chocolate drip. I put that to freeze before I did everything else. For the cake topper I made myself, I shared it with you guys. I watched a video on how to do this to make like a 3D cake topper. It was my very first 3D cake topper. You basically use the offset option to create like the layers. So the happy birthday, I offset it, and then it gave the background to it, and then you print everything out in separate layers. I also connected everything, so all the words, I used the merge to connect all the words so they wouldn't print out like every letter by itself. So I made sure everything was connected, and then you print everything out. And basically I used these like 3D foam stickers, which I'll show you guys in a bit, to to adhere every layer to each other, and it makes like a 3D effect. And now I'm in this whole community on Facebook of 3D cake toppers, and people do such elaborate ones. There's so much you can do, and it's just cardstock and these little foam stickers. So as you can see, it's like 2 layers. So people who do cake toppers for a living, they sell them on Etsy. This is how they do it, but way more professional. I was just trying to do something a little fancy, but it was my first time. So all this cardstock, I will link every single thing that I used in this video because most of it is from Amazon. So I will try to make like a little post, and everything will be on that post, but that's how I did that. And then I actually just stuck, like, I had those kebab sticks, and I stuck that to the back of it. And then I had some Mickey and Minnie Christmas ornaments that I ordered off of Temu. It was the only thing. I couldn't find no Mickey and Minnie Christmas like figurines to put on top of the cake, so I had to order these like flat ornaments, and then I stuck them onto the cake topper. And this was the very first thing I believe that I did. I did this like months ahead. It was still like fall time.
Favorite season. They say Nick, what you got up in that bag, yeah. I got racks in my sack, hurt my back, yeah. They say Nick, what you got up in that bag, yeah. I got racks in my sack, hurt my back, yeah. Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, and Vixen.
These balls, I could not make a cake without these. I love decorating with these. And again, because I was only able to do a crumb coat and I had no buttercream, which really bothered me because the buttercream is so good and I only had a thin layer on the outside. But I wish I would have had like more to do. But because there were so many imperfections, because this was only supposed to be a crumb coat, and then the chocolate drip, I used like the balls and the snowflakes and all of that and sprinkles to hide all the imperfections, and it came out so good in the end, like you couldn't even tell. And I am in love with the way that this turned out. I really am.
They say Nick, what you got up in that bag, yeah. I got racks in my sack, hurt my back, yeah. They say Nick, what you got up in that bag, yeah. I got racks in my sack, hurt my back, yeah. They say Nick.
I did have a tiny bit of buttercream left, not enough to do a whole nother coat, so I used it to just do these little like piping decorations around it, and then I put some sprinkles on top of that, again just to add more distraction away from all the imperfections.
Hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing? In Christmas times, we'll be chilling.
I forgot to add that this is the Friday, and this is when I decorated the cake. This is when we decorated the whole house so that the day of we could really just wake up and just get dressed and stuff and it not be stressful. So we moved our dining table to be the cake table. This what is this called? Backdrop stand I've already had. I've used it for all my parties. And then I just bought a red cover off of Amazon, and I used my Cricut again with the same font that I bought. This font is from Cricut. And I don't have the Cricut membership, so I had to buy it. But if you have the membership, it should be free. And yeah, I did do it small. You can do it bigger if you I didn't have enough vinyl, or I could have done like 2 or 3 letters on each sheet, and then just do like a bunch of different sheets to get like a bigger, I don't know, sign. But I just wanted to do one sheet and get it over it, so it came out tiny. And I did put it a little bit Cricut, but again, I didn't have my transfer tape, and this did come out flatter than the balloons though, because I was working on a flat surface. But yeah, I just printed Happy B-Day on one of my mats, and that's it. Again, if you want to do something bigger so that it's like it fills up the space, then you can just like print each 2 letters on one mat and just make them bigger, and then you'll just put them all together when you're putting it on the backdrop. And yeah, then I just tied everything on. The way I do is I use either balloon string. Here I think I'm using yarn because I couldn't find balloon string. I tie it on to the metal bar in the back, And then I'll always add like 2 of these larger balloons on either end, and then I'll fill in with the little clusters, and then the rest of the candy canes um and peppermints and stuff that came with the balloon arch kit. And I love the way this turned out again. This cardboard cutout I got from Amazon, but I think there's a way to make your own cardboard cutouts. Whatever I could get already made, I did because I was already DIYing a line. Here's my little man. But now for all of the tables, I do have reusable linens that I use. I did iron them a little bit, but I didn't go all out because we were on a time crunch, and again, I was doing so much this week. And this fringe backdrop, it came in a 3-pack. It's from Amazon, and as well as the Mickey and Minnie banner, Christmas banner that we're gonna add, which is annoying because I had to string all of them by myself. I don't know why they don't already come in a string. These are the things that I'm talking about, and we just added that to the top because we had the backdrop for the photos, and then I just didn't want to leave the cake table without anything in the background. For all the tables, which is only 2, I thought I was going to be able to fit more, but I kind of saw my space bigger than it was. So I ordered, I already had the linens, and then I ordered a 6-pack of these red gauze runners from Temu. I love the gauzy look, and I only ended up using 2 because only 2 tables fit in the space, but it was fine. I just used the center table for the kids. And I also already had these spandex covers. I got them off of Amazon. I just bought another 10-pack, but I already had 10 already because, again, I'm always doing these DIY parties. My baby shower was outside, and so I keep these things so that I don't have to rebuy. And yeah, I think it just gives it a cleaner look. And yeah, these Mickey and Minnie plates I did make ahead of time. I shared them with you guys on Instagram. It's just some hot glue gun and cutting out like cricket shapes, and then I ended up pasting some little Hobby Lobby decor in the middle for the bow and for the bow tie. I made this one banner with the same font off of Cricut. This pinned the Santa hat. This is actually the next day. I made it on Canva. Super easy, and I printed it out at Walgreens, and I also bought some Santa hats from Amazon, and I stuck the sticky dots on them. This is the morning of. I didn't show you guys how I made this tower, but the same way I made the other ones, and I just stuck it at the center of the table. And yeah, now I'm just setting everything on the table. Next, I'm going to show you guys some end shots. I'm also going to walk you guys through the entire first floor so you can see the party firsthand. And if you want to stick around at the end, there is some photos of us and a little bit of footage from the party. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. I hope you guys got ideas for your party preps and your party planning. And I love you guys. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next one, God willing, as always. Okay guys, the kids are upstairs, but I just wanted to show you guys an overview. I'm recording on my phone. He just threw a ball down the stairs. And I turned off all the lights because it's really bright. So we have some chairs, total. There's gonna be about 24 to 30 people here. So I was thinking about moving the coffee table, but it's really heavy. But anyways, 4 people fit on the couch, 2 on these chairs. We put 3 more. Those are our dining chairs. We just covered them. Those are our dining chair as well. So we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then about 11 people could sit over here. I turned on all the twinkly lights. This is the garland. Then we have 3 more seats over here so people can sit on the island. We have 3 more seats over here, slip covered as well. And then out over here, I have actually artwork that I did with them, Christmas. And that's her and his handprint. And then this is our back door, and I actually put a shoe rack and a coat rack because I don't want shoes in the house and I don't want coats all over the place. Mickey and Minnie are coming, so I want everything to look nice and clutter free. The kitchen is clean. He's throwing balls down the stairs. Ignore the ruckus in my house. But I got the juices for the kids. I also have drinks in the fridge for adults. We have plates and chips. We're ordering empanadas and pizza, so that's gonna go there. This is how the table turned out. I didn't get a chance to like super iron the stuff, but it looks fine. That's his little 1 banner. The Nehemiah 1 balloon and Eliana 4 balloon. They turned out, I think they still turned out good. If I would have used transfer tape, it definitely would have not had all those bubbles, but I was just using what I have. And yeah, this is how everything turned out. I'm in love with these. These are not all of them, but I couldn't find the second set of like these tiered stands. The cake, again, not my original plan, but I am in love with it. The pretzel rods here, the goodie bags, although like 3 or 4 kids ended up not coming because of RSV from my church. So some of those are gonna have to be given later. I left my buffet there. This is the little kids table where they'll have their pizza. This is the backdrop where Mickey and Minnie will take pictures. That is a little bit crooked, but it's all right for a DIY. I love it. I'm in love with it. I added a Mickey balloon last minute. And then, yeah, this is the Santa hat. I have little Santa hats that I bought off Amazon, and I stuck little sticky dots on them for the kids to play. And I'm gonna try to put some shots of like the party at the end of the video because Mickey and Minnie are coming and they're basically going to be handing them the Santa hat, and you know, kids are going to be pinning. I thought this was a good height for the kids that are going to be here. I think everybody is 4 and under, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, just wanted to show you guys the overview and pray for us because there's going to be a lot of people here today, God willing.